Expect spoilers for the following series. Alright, soldiers, I'm going to be trying my hand at something a little new today. Today, we're going to be doing a review of Peacemaker. Let me tell you. If you've been following the series, you know Season 2 just ended, and James Gunn announced that it's going to be the last installment we get for a while, so I thought I'd give you guys the skinny and let you know if it was worth the watch today. And who knows, might give it a little grade at the end, see if it's a bop or flop on the Commander scale. If you haven't been following the DCU, worry not, they just rebooted for the umpteenth time. The current continuity starts over at Creature Commandos. Great animated show. If you like animated hero shows, I highly suggest checking it out. Both that and Peacemaker 1 kind of pick up after the events of the Suicide Squad. So even though that's not canon, it's kind of gotten that, like, if we reference it, it's legit. And I think that's fair. I think that's a good approach to have. There's no reason to just nuke the old continuity. And Peacemaker falls pretty heavily into the through line of the continuity, surprisingly. It picks up right after the Suicide Squad, and Season 2 picks up right after the Superman movie, which is also a big cornerstone of the new DCU they're trying to form. I know some other shows they've got in the pipeline are Lanterns, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Clayface, and then the next time we'll see Peacemaker, unfortunately, 2027 in Man of Tomorrow, which, I'll be real, a little sad we gotta wait that long for more, but that just goes to show, honestly, I had a really good time with the show. Season 1 picks up, Peacemaker wakes up in the hospital. I might call him Chris's government name, God forbid. He had just gotten shot in the chest from Bloodsport, I believe. I haven't watched Suicide Squad in a minute. He had killed Rick Flag Jr., which are all things that are still carrying over into the continuity, so it's important. It genuinely affects the characters in the universe. But yeah, pretty quickly, Peacemaker realizes he's not being watched, grabs his outfit, sneaks out of the hospital.
Guy's a total douchebag.
Thinks he's made it home clear, and the squad of agents from Argus end up pulling up. That's like the CIA, I guess you could say, of the hero world. And yeah, they pretty much say, hey, you can help us with Operation Butterfly, or you can go to jail. Kind of your call there, though. Fuck! And so, obviously, my man's gonna serve his country and protect the peace by any means necessary, even if he has to kill somebody. He ends up picking up Project Butterfly. You're introduced pretty quickly to his team. You've got Amelia Harcourt, the badass femme fatale, who is also obviously like gonna be the love interest throughout the series. You've got Leota Adebayo, the daughter of Amanda Waller, the lady who runs the Suicide Squad. She's kind of the moral compass of the group, I guess you could say.
I trust her the most because Eagly liked her.
He tried to bite me.
Yeah, but not as hard as he tries to bite everybody else.
She's not a spy by nature, more so just kind of has to make ends meet. You've got your man in the chair, John Economos.
Economos? You fucking stud! Yeah, I am. I'm a fucking stud.
And then you've got your leader of the group, Clemson Mearns, the hard ass who has a reputation for kind of self-sacrificing his team to get the job done, which you'll love to hear when you get signed onto their team.
So, they say you've done, like, some real hardcore shit.
Trying to do what I can to make up for my past. Things I've done make me sad. Yeah, that's a feeling of mine I just shared with you.
Cool.
It is cool, because I've never done it before.
Chris is given his assignment. He meets his team. You get to meet Eagly, the coolest character in the series. Peacemaker's pet fucking eagle.
Oh my god. They're stalking me. This is fucking amazing.
But eventually you get to meet one of my favorite characters, Vigilante, who's just like a normal dude who looks up to Peacemaker.
Think that's my friend Gut Chase's younger brother? He has mental issues.
I gotta say, Freddie Stroma's depiction of the Vigilante, my man makes a funny fucking merc with a mouth. Even if he's not the merc with the mouth, he steals the show constantly and definitely acts as like the comedic relief of the group. Flawlessly, I might add.
Fuck yeah, Peacemaker's back, baby. Twerk it and twerk it. Get my little tish out. It's my famous butt dance, my butt dance, my butt dance. It's my famous. Oh, hey man.
But yeah, you basically watch throughout this first season John Cena's team Feels weird referring to him as John Cena. You basically watch throughout the first season Peacemaker and his team leading out on these missions and pretty much just assassinating people. I don't know, gathering intel, the typical spy stuff. Honestly, if you're a fan of like The Boys or plot lines like that, it's gonna be very similar to that. Just a ragtag team bound together by fate, making things work, and you see this team come together and slowly become a found family. It's honestly pretty beautiful. If you watch the show, the 11th Street Kids episode, oh, I'm not even a Hanoi Rocks fan, but dude, you see this found family change Peacemaker for the better. You start to see him develop a conscience. You see him interact with the antagonist of the season a lot. There's a lot of acts of mercy and a lot of acts of kindness you wouldn't expect from a character like Peacemaker. And I genuinely think that can be attributed to the positive influence his team has on him, as well as the moral regret of a lot of the decisions he made. Killing Rick Flag Jr. is a big one that gets brought up a lot.
Flag was right. Peacemaker. What a joke.
Buddy?
What the fuck? Hey, what the fuck are you doing, you fucking stalker?
You see that haunt him, which is fun for a character who puts up a poker face. It makes them vulnerable, and I feel like it helps lead you into that character. Season 2 takes place directly after that roller coaster. You see the group that was there, they don't have that mutual cause with Project Butterfly anymore, so they've kind of scattered to the winds. Adebayo, unemployed. Harcourt getting into bar fights, also having a hard time finding work. John Economos, probably the best off out of all of them, because my man still works for Argus. He's put on Peacemaker watch, basically, and unlike the last time, it's more covert, so it's almost like a betrayal of friendship, but you can tell that it plagues him in that sense. Vigilante, just doing his vigilante thing.
Dude, listen. It's an owl. Dude, I know a shitload about owls.
Same with Eagly. The season pretty much starts out teasing that like there was some serious growth in chemistry between Amelia and Chris.
Was there something else you wanted to talk about? What happened the other night or something? On the boat?
It was fine. It happened. Whatever. But it was also a mistake.
You remember a whole lot for not remembering.
They don't show it at the beginning. They do show it towards the end. And I think it's better that way. That was a good creative choice. Get hit harder at that point. So there's a really big will they, won't they looming over the entire season, which people go back and forth on if they like them. I think this was done well. I don't think it was done obnoxiously, and I think that's the issue with those things, is when you do it too obnoxious. It definitely drives the season, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's good to see humans with human emotions acting in a human way. You know, it doesn't have to be totally ungrounded. Through the events of season 1, we also see Peacemaker inherits quantum folding chamber. Yeah, that's what the boys in R&D put down. Quantum unfolding chamber, or the QUC for short. It becomes a major plot point throughout the season as well. Season 2 picks up directly after the events of the Superman movie from the reboot, and if you watch that, you know a big part of the plot is quantum portals, alternative dimensional travel, and all that shit gets outlawed. So the fact that my man has the portal it's not necessarily a good thing. And that's established pretty quickly in the season, with Economos watching over him, covering for him to make sure that Argus doesn't get privy on that. One episode, you see Peacemaker goes into the quantum unfolding chamber and Eagly just flies off. Mind you, the quantum unfolding chamber, it looks like Monsters, Inc. Like, there's doors everywhere. You see a fucking creepy ass alien come out of one just to incinerate like a cat baby.
Hey. Morning. Fuck you then, you crypt keeper looking bitch.
I don't fucking know. That never got explained, by the way. It's like a centralized hub for other worlds to connect. So it's weird. Long story short, it's weird. And takes him out so that Eagly can get a little wing stretch. And next thing you know, Eagly doesn't come back.
Eagly? Eagly, come on, bro.
Peacemaker's hunting down Eagly, and you see Eagly pecking at a little door. And Chris looks up and sees a numpad. It looks just like the number pad on his door, which is kind of weird because all these doors look different and kind of alien. So the fact that there's like a direct copy of his, foreboding to say the least. My man reaches up, boop, 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 punches in his code. Lo and behold, it works. He enters into what is a beautiful like foyer full of trophies and medals and stuff. You can tell it's like the chamber of a hero. And all of a sudden, Peacemaker is greeted by his and that in and of itself is a weird thing. Especially if you've been following the story so long, you know just how impactful that moment really was. It froze me in my tracks. I was like, oh shit. Doing the smart thing, he pretty quickly turns tail, runs back to his world. And I guess you could say you kind of find out that in this world, Peacemaker and rise to be like the top heroes of the world, and he's lauded as like one of the best. He's genuinely celebrated, which throughout the series you see Peacemaker struggles with the fact that he's not recognized for his heroics. And that's kind of fair, you know, you do something good without positive reinforcement, it doesn't feel all that impactful.
Have you spoken to Peacemaker? He seems bummed out lately. I think he thought that after saving the world, everyone would finally treat him like a hero.
Now he's presented with this world where everything he could ever want is just right there. And sometimes when the grass is greener, it's hard to forget that field, you know? And a lot of things go poorly. Oh, what's that one movie with the two girls? One of them's like a normal girl and the other's a princess, and they hit a little slip swap. It's one of those situations. Peacemaker decides to kind of try to live out his better life in this other dimension. So after seeing Peacemaker do all the growth of season 1, you then see that they're faced with a dilemma. They could essentially live out the best possible version of their life, or they could go back to the life they've been working so hard to carve out with the people that recognize and genuinely feel for them. And it kind of boils down to either living a lie in order to be happy, or living your truth and just accepting the issues that come from it. And Peacemaker, in his unfounded wisdom and glory, decides to live in the better world. Who wouldn't, though? If all of your dreams came true and all you had to do was walk through a door to live them, why wouldn't you pick that choice, you know? It makes sense, not only from a character standpoint, but just in general. You know, it's everything he could want. Amelia in that dimension was his ex, and wouldn't you know it, they were able to patch things up. So in that universe, he gets the girl. You kind of see him fall into that trap of just kind of taking the easy way. And it's not without its repercussion. You find out that the greener field has its own secrets, some darkness buried under the dirt. You see a lot happen, especially in those past couple episodes. I was tearing up. There were some moments where it really hit, like emotionally, thematically, you know? There's a scene where Peacemaker is confronted by his version of Harcourt in their universe. And it's very well done. The emotional depth on it is palpable. The way the characters are written and the dialogue in that moment, the fact that Harcourt is too stubborn to say that she really wants Peacemaker to come back and she does care about him, and the way the actor portrayed that was choking me up, honestly. You know, eventually our boy Chris is convinced to come back to his world, not without its general bullshit happening. Like after that scene, it's them leaving the dimension, all of that beautiful, absolute cinema. Where the second season loses me, honestly, is the final episode. It was super hyped up. There were parts of it I did enjoy. You get to see a lot of extra dimensional travel. You know, Argus gets their hands on the QUC and they essentially just run through every door that they can. And that entire sequence was really interesting. It's always fun to see like alternate world stuff, especially like superhero writing. They can take like fairly mundane things and then turn them into something exciting. And like all of that was cool. Kind of seeing Rick Flag Sr. planning his revenge throughout the season, and even when he enacted it, genuinely were really interesting. But at the end, when Argus finally has their hands on the portal and you see them running all these missions and you find out what they're doing it for, you know, this is going to be the big spoiler. This is what it all builds up to. This is what kind of rubbed me the wrong way, honestly. At the very end, our boy, John Cena, patches everything up. You see the 11th Street crew, you know, they've got their established agency. It seems like things are on the up and up. And then Rick Flag Sr. grabs Peacemaker, throws him through a portal, and the series is over. What? Not only that, you know, like I said at the beginning, James Gunn said no more seasons of Peacemaker for the foreseeable future. And they just lock my boy into a different dimension on the end, on his season finale. Motherfucker. You know, this is the one part I feel like was lazy writing. I don't think it was tied in well enough. The episode was definitely, more set up to tease future DCU projects instead of bring some closure to the end of a really good series. Frankly, a series that, up until that point, I was fucking head over heels for. There's so many plot threads that weren't tied up at the end of season 1 with particular butterfly. That's all I'll say. You've got the establishment of Checkmate, which now we have to wait forever to see. You've got the plotline with his brother Keith that never got finalized. There's a lot of things that are very open. And to say that this is essentially like the shut door. I love cameos throughout hero movies, right? But usually a cameo doesn't get a lot of spotlight. Usually it doesn't get the development that I really want to see. The biggest cornerstone of Peacemaker was the character development. I don't think I've watched a hero show where I've enjoyed the character development as much recently. I genuinely grew attached to every single character in the 11th Street crew. Not only that, there are villains, there are side characters that I've just grown to love. And now it kind of seems like they're getting shuttered for The Man of Tomorrow, which releases in 2 years. So we gotta wait 2 years for a Peacemaker cameo now. And honestly, pretty much all of that right there left a bitter taste in my mouth. As a fan of the series, I'm not even a big Peacemaker comic reader, but I grew to really like this character, his immediate world, and just like the antics they got up to, To have that all kind of canned up, I do think it's leading to something cool, and I really hope that in the future, when they run the Salvation run, that Peacemaker is a big part of it. I mean, frankly, he was there for the Suicide Squad, which arguably was the soft launch of the Gunverse, because that was his first directed film with DC, I'm pretty sure. Superman, the beginning of what is actually like the canon movies pumping out. Peacemaker gets tied into that as well. And now we've got The Man of Tomorrow, the next Superman film, which is also ideally going to be tied in. And if you want my guess on it, I genuinely do have a theory as to like what it's going to be. If you know the Salvation comic run,
We call the planet Salvation.
there's a prison colony.
So on Salvation, that's where we build the prison?
No, Mr. Secretary. Salvation is the prison.
Where they send metahumans.
And we're talking just metahumans, right?
Yeah, most likely. I haven't outlined all the parameters.
And wouldn't you know it, it leads into a apocalypse and all of that shit. So my genuine guess, I don't think we'll see Peacemaker until there's a war going on Salvation. And who knows? Salvation's run was between Lex Luthor and the Joker, and we have half of that introduced. So my guess is at the end of Man of Tomorrow, our boy Superman banishes Lex Luthor to, Salvation. Doesn't really sound like it, but So hopefully we'll see Peacemaker take a side there, and maybe he'll even be a moral compass, like a very flawed, points kind of northwest moral compass. Needless to say, on its own, I would give season 1 a 9. I was riveted. The plot was amazing. By episode 5, I literally was like sad I had to stop watching and look forward to the next time I could watch it. Season 2, it didn't hit as hard. There was still good character development, but that's all you really got. And even then, at the very end, I feel like it was all for nothing, because you immediately see Peacemaker ripped out of this situation and cast off into the void. So the whole team that you've built up, Checkmate, I'm sure they're going to come in handy, but we're not going to get to see the 11th Street gang interact with our boy Peacemaker, and that's kind of what the whole show's been. So all of that being said, I'm going to give the series an 8.5 out of 10 doves apiece. That's right. I still give it a high score. Season 1 on its own, beautifully crafted. Season 2 started out really strong, and honestly, I was gripped all the way up until the last episode. Like, the last episode had me sitting there going, how do they wrap this up? Because I need to see. And then I didn't really feel like I got to see that. So all in all, 8.5. Fuck you, James Gunn, for making me wait probably like 10 years before I get actual closure on half of that. But hey, it's a good setup. To have such a minor character be such a through line for the universe, that alone tickles me. This is the way that comic spin-offs should be done for shows. It shouldn't be an entire series that you have to digest to keep up with the entire universe. It should be supplementary to the universe while building a character exponentially. I think that's the best way to do it. Honestly, it's more in tune to like what an actual comic run would be. And I think this was a perfect example of that. So even though it fell flat at the finish line, I gotta give it an 8.5. It was great, and I genuinely suggest it as a watch. With time, it's only gonna get better. Once we have more tie-ins, it's just gonna grow the universe even more and just show why Peacemaker was a good choice for a through line, and why hopefully we'll see more smaller heroes or anti-heroes or even villains get like good but not overdone spin-offs. I think that's its biggest strength. Yeah, that's it, soldiers. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and leave a like. Let me know if you want to see me review something else. If there's one thing you should know about the Commander, I love media. I'm always watching movies, TV shows. I've even been wanting to read books. So, till then, soldiers, I'll catch you in the mess hall. See ya.